Okay, I know I didn't upload Tuesday, but to be fair to me, my house had a blackout. So I mean, there's no counterplay to that, right? But despite that, I was still gonna make a video because what am I if not a persevering feller? But here's what happened. I was about 3 pages in the script until I realized the entire video was wrong. The video was meant to be about the sibling trying to leave Teyvat despite the Sea of Flowers being here, but as some of the more astute among us might have already realized, that I realized too late, the sibling couldn't have known about the Sea of Flowers in this very moment, so I just folded after realizing this. Anyway, polls. So far, you know, lately they've been terrible. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. So I won the 50-50 for Jade, and so me thinking this was the start of something beautiful was crestfallen when I then lost the 50-50 for Chong-Li, which I didn't record just because I didn't think I'd get her, but, you know. I did get Chong-Li in the very next 10 pull. I mean, I was right, but kind of wrong. Then I pulled for Zhu Yuan, and what do you know? That's not Zhu Yuan. So that takes us to Yunli, where I pulled for Yunli, and what do you guys think? Did I win the 50? Nope. Welcome back, Japard. Dude, I'm gonna drown a fight. I did pull and get her weapon, but even still, this puts us at a 3 losses in a row streak already for the 50-50. That's fucked up, dog. I won one 50-50 and that was it. And now I'm back at 3 already for losing. And I just came off, like, what was it, like 10, 11? Anyway, new Luofu story drops. That was actually a lot more than I was expecting. I wasn't really paying attention to the lead up to this pad, so I didn't really know what was coming, but I mean, this is a full-blown story right after Penacony. Kind of wild. So no breaks on the... Never mind. Some questionable Tingyun hints were dropped. Extremely suspect activity regarding Ruan Mei. Feixiao looks sick as hell, and Hule was a fearsome foe till he opened his fucking mouth. Anyway, this intro's getting kind of long, so let's just start with it. Story starts with us returning to the Astral Express. Pom Pom informs us he got a message from the Luofu and plays it. It's hologram Jingyun inviting us, cherished allies, to the Luminary War Dance. We discuss and reason the Luofu is having the War Dance ceremony so soon after their little crisis is because they want a return to normalcy. We discuss what to do and learn Himiko already had prior arrangements as she was going to deliver some Leviathan fossils from Kalenga Abyss to Ruan Mei. Leviathans, by the way, just think this burly bitch right here. They are what existed before even the eons. So that's what she and Waltz are gonna do, leaving us to represent the Express at the ceremony. When we arrive at Starskiff Haven, we're greeted by Yanqing, who was sent for us by Jingyun. Side note, you can touch Yanqing's cheek to see if he's an imposter, and oh my god, the MC speaks!
What are you doing?
Sorry, but after our previous adventures, I've become suspicious of whoever greets us first.
Yanqing says there's many tourists here from all over the galaxy, including other Xianzhou ships, namely the Zhuming and Yaoqiu. While Sir Yaps a lot here just fucking yaps, suddenly a monster roars.
Huh? Protect the civilians. I'll deal with him. Not good. Thanks for the help.
Sorry, no time to chat. Could you give me back my...
We decide to investigate what happened and come across an IPC officer and Cloud Knight arguing with one another, as an IPC ship carrying cargo has been seized by the Cloud Knights. Apparently, the IPC didn't even mean to land in the Luofu and are only here because they were attacked by that Boris, and I then successfully talk this bird down from a ledge, redeeming myself for letting that one lady on Penacony. While questioning some extremely noteworthy looking officers, we learn an IPC transport ship was attacked by the Borisin, and a nearby Zhuming ship came to the rescue and then imprisoned the Borisin on their ship. Yanqing clues us in on what the Borisin really are. They're pretty much just werewolves who are, you guessed it, abominations of the abundance. They are allegedly as devastating as the Swarm. That's a tough card to sell to me, kid. There was a big war against them 30 years ago where the Alliance came out victorious, and ever since, the Borisin's numbers have dwindled. Yanqing then decides to bring us to meet with Jingyun, but not before telling us of his plans to snitch like a little bitch, because that girl stole his sword. When we catch up with Jingyun, he's currently meeting with a fucking hobbit who's actually General Huayan, the Arbiter General. general of the Zhu Ming, who, by the way, if he looks like this and these are a long-life species, this nigga's gotta be pushing 100,000, right? Like, well, what the fuck is this, bro? Being old is the norm for these niggas. How do you look like this, you old fuck? The Hobbit tells us he's merely a guest here like all of us, and to treat him no differently. What a humble beast. When we then make introductions, and after Jingliu introduces his apprentice Yanqing and states he will represent the Luofu's Cloud Knights in the war dance, Huaiyan then busts out his own apprentice, who's the girl from earlier, Yunli, who's also his granddaughter. They have an argument that essentially just... I mean, this scene is so weird, dude. Yanqing asks for his sword back like a distinguished gentleman, but Yunli just sort of just goes, no, you gotta take it back, you little bitch. And so Yanqing just goes, I bet, let's run the ones, bitch! And then Jingliu finally speaks up, and it's just like, all right, that's enough. Like, what are you doing, you fucking pussy? A small misunderstanding? Where? What's the misunderstanding? Y'all hoeing this nigga Yanqing, man. He was ready to beat the brakes off this bitch for his sword back. In private, Jingliu even apologizes to Huaiyan for Yanqing's rudeness. You fucking oily. I spit on your grave. And Huaiyan rightfully tells him to shut the fuck up, because if that was him, his sword would have been drawn if he was getting wilded on like that by a little girl. Speaking with Yunli, she reveals interesting insight into why she's not a thief.
Yeah, you're right. I took it with my skills. So I guess you can say I'm a robber or something. How dare he imply I'm a thief? Totally different.
We finally head out, but before we switch shots, we get another ominous scene with the two generals. Jingliu is confused, as the war dance is but a simple martial arts ceremony that's small in nature, yet the generals of two different ships are here visiting. He wonders if they've come under orders from the Marshal. The Marshal, by the way, is Marshal Hua, the leader of the Arbiter Generals. Huaiyan says he's just here to show his granddaughter a good time, but as for the other general, who's to say? Huaiyan tells us the Marshal knows everything that's happened on the Luofu recently, and as for the other general who's arrived, the Merlin's Claw, she's coming for Jingliu. Suddenly, her retainers appear and tell the generals the reason she hasn't arrived yet is because she went to take a look at Scale Gorge Waterscape. On the outside, Dan Heng shares his concerns with Jingliu's situation, stating the two generals may have come to hold Jingliu accountable for the recent crisis. The resurrection of the Arbor itself has put too many people in the Xianzhou Alliance on edge, prompting this little investigation by the generals. Yanqing also tells us a new cauldron master for the Alchemy Commission has been put in place, but this time it's someone from the Zhu Ming, after Don Shu, the higher up said, hey, you Luofu niggas need some time off, bro. We tag along with Yanqing to go deal with some IPC merchants who refuse to have their cargo inspected by the Skyfaring Commission, where, by chance, we run into who is still the greatest voice-acted character in all of history, Scott.
Then why did you bring the cargo to the Artisanship Commission? You even brought in some shady craftsmen. It's obvious you're trying to steal the IPC's patented technology!
The IPC reason the cargo isn't meant for the Luofu, and the only reason it's here is because their ship needs repairs following the attack. Furthermore, this is Intelligentsia Guild's IPC patented technology that can't be leaked no matter what. But the Skyfaring Commission state that because the ship repairs will take a few days, they need to check the cargo to ensure there's nothing dangerous inside. A preliminary scan aroused suspicion when heavy machinery and biological tissue were found to be in the cargo. We then debate with him, win, but nothing comes of it. Suddenly, the new Cauldron Master and head of the Alchemy Commission from the Zhu Ming, lingsha, arrives, and it's only through her any headway is made, and we can finally inspect the cargo.
Is this the IPC product?
Listen up. Any damages caused by inspections will be filed with the IPC!
Turn it off!
Following the fight, Scott and the boys are taken away, and lingsha confirms there is indeed biological tissue in the machine, and we wonder what the Intelligentsia Guild could possibly be doing. Lingsha then invites us to a tea party without the tea or the party. Instead she just gives us a sad fucking story, huh? She tells us she's actually a Luofu native and a videoterin at that. She is looking to help purge the Alchemy Commission of Medicus sympathizers. Dan Heng just says separate work from personal life, and Yanqing Dead just says ask the general, to which lingsha tells us a story prefaced by a simple fact. Regardless of whether the ambrosial arbor exists or not, the desire for a long life will always exist in human hearts. 30 years ago, Lingsha's teacher was the cauldron master of the Alchemy Commission on the Law of Fu. She sensed corruption spreading within the commission and sought to cleanse it, but given she wasn't skilled at interacting with people, she couldn't do it, and was instead framed and exiled to the Zhu Ming. Lingsha was also forced to leave, as she too was implicated, and the one who handed down the sentence. None other than the wise and brave Arbiter General Jingyun himself. It was through this act by Jingyun the Alchemy Commission was allowed to become fully corrupted via Don Shu, and the Ambrosial Arbor was able to resurrect. Yanqing is stun-locked upon learning this, until Yunli, who was looking for Lingsha, suddenly appears. Yanqing demands his sword back, and Yunli, ever the schizophrenic, says she can talk to swords, and Yanqing's sword says he's distracted. Okay, bro, okay. Yanqing just says he's gonna take it back by force, like a real nigga, before Lingsha says, how about a competition? Don't want to see anyone get hurt. Whoever kills the most monsters wins. Yanqing, already familiar with this type of competition against much better opponents, wins. Yunli, still not really interested in handing over the sword, fights him for it. Yeah, I mean, someone stopping your super attack like that has got to be the closest thing to a sober ego death you could experience. A fox lady says one fights like a pussy and the other fights like a caveman. She also says they should settle their beef in the war dance ceremony. Lingsha and the crew appears and informs us this is the great general, the Merlin's Claw Feixiao, the Arbiter General of the Jiaoqiu. Feixiao takes it all in stride and says that title is way too much. She instead comes up with a much better one for herself.
Ooh, I heard there's a dozing general on the Lawfu, so I came up with a humble nickname for myself. The Lacking General. Lacking in worries, regrets, and rivals.
Yunli, now feeling the presence, gives Yanqing's sword back and leaves. Yanqing says Lingsha should really speak with the general and leaves with us in tow. We learn Lingsha arranged for Feixiao to meet with Bailu at a certain point for a consultation, and after they go their separate ways, Feixiao is joined by Jaoqiu and Mose, where they give their thoughts on the Law of Fu and the war dance. Feixiao states she wants to get a feel for the Law of Fu before confronting Jingyun. Suddenly, Jaoqiu asks Feixiao how her visit with Bailu went, and Feixiao informs her Bailu couldn't do anything about her condition, and all she told her was to simply eat some tasty food, which, I mean, that's what we do to niggas on death row, by the way. Is Feixiao dying? Is that what this is? That is... Bro, her condition seems to have something to do with death, as she then states she doesn't care how long she lives, as long as her life is dedicated to hunting down the abundance. Mose then suddenly decides he now wants some tasty food. Feixiao can't come, however, as she's due to meet an old war buddy. We then head on over to the Seat of Divine Foresight to meet up with Jingyun, who again is with the hobbits. He states Huaiyan can ask us anything about the Arbor Crisis, as we were there every step of the way. Huaiyan prefaces his speech by stating he believes in Jingyun and the Marshal's judgment for making Jingyun general all that time ago, despite what happened with the High Cloud Quintet. Huaiyan reveals he's come to the war dance on orders from Marshal Hua, with only one instruction, to attend the war dance and listen to Feixiao's questioning. Huaiyan then presents the box for a gift for the war dance, which is meant to hold a special sword, but it's not here yet. The sword, the very, very special and storied sword, will be gifted to the winner of the Ringmaster's Challenge. As then Yunli decides to enter the challenge to represent the Zhu Ming, and thus Feixiao's words are now true. At some point, we will get a fight to the death! No, it's not going to be to the death. Between Yunli and Yanqing. One will win, and one will lose. Their beef will be settled once and for all. But because of this, someone winning and someone losing, the generals decide to have Yunli and Yaoqing partake in an activity where they will face the same outcome, and that's taking on an apprentice and having them also compete in the Ringmaster's Challenge. They take on March, because And why the fuck not? And after Huayan leaves, Jingyun apologizes to us and says the real reason he invited us back to the Luofu was for us to act as his witnesses. Alright, bro. He says we will be questioned by Feixiao soon, and to prepare for that. Speaking of her, we find out her old war buddy, was Yukong. Yukong, I'm surprised this game remembered about her. Yukong asks how Feixiao's health is holding up, to which Feixiao states, thanks to Yaoqiu, her condition is stable. Feixiao confirms that due to the Arbor's resurrection, the Elders are concerned of a repeat of 30 years ago. Furthermore, uncertainty regarding the Ruan Legion, Stellar Run Hunters, and Astral Express's involvement in the situation leave many weary. This combined with Jingliu's untimely return with a mysterious man and a supposed way to fight the Eons, further combined with Jingyun allowing the forever banished Imbibiter Lune to return and part the sea at Scale Gorge Waterscape, the whole situation is just a mess. It's because of the instability the Luofu has faced recently that Feixiao also desires to see Hu Lei, a big-ass Borisin who's been in the shackling prison for 700 years. Given the Borisin and Hu Lei are sworn enemies of the Foxians and the Luofu has been going to hell, there are some concerns that something will happen to Hu Lei that is of great detriment to the Foxians. So, Feixiao has come to quell their fears. Finally, Feixiao states she was able to follow up on something Yukong asked for. Verdant Knights tracked down the wreckage of a ship called the Whistling Flames. However, there were no survivors nor cargo. However, what's strange about the whole situation is that before they got there, someone else had already been there. Genius Society member number 81, Ruan Mei. Now, where this gets even stranger is that the Whistling Flames are a merchant guild that was approved by the Skyfaring Commission, and the head of it was Tingyun, who, as we all know, was very close with Yukong. What does it mean? What does it mean? March's training occurs over the next couple of weeks, and I just cannot be fucked to cover it. You should play it. It's fun. It's fun, but it's not like there's much to glean from it. She's apparently a natural at the art of the sword. You know, so good for her. On the final day before the war dance, Yaoqiu drops by and wonders why Yunli and Yang Qing are training someone instead of practicing, given the war dance is tomorrow. He then just yaps and, god damn, this fucking nigga can talk. I'm not a scholar, I'm a killer who can kill! Yeah, good for you. We all decide to go view the arena, which is just a decommissioned ship called the Sky Splitter. It's then Yaoqiu gets a whiff of some bullshit in the air, but thinks nothing of it. Yanjing, inspired by Sir Yaps a lot, decides he too would like to yap a lot. So the reason I wield this shut the fuck up, nigga! Yaoqiu, having had his fill, pieces out, and we follow out shortly thereafter, but come across some shady-sounding individuals who, this is not even English, my nigga, this is just an assortment of sounds.
How's that?
As somehow, Lieutenant Yang Qing gets punked by these guys, one of whom should just be one of his subordinates. We tail them for some time and notice they begin to sound increasingly cult-like, and we learn they're taking orders from someone named Mok Tok.
Lord Mok Tok is ready. The revival of our ancient bloodline all hinges on this operation.
March snaps a pic that catches their attention, and suddenly they reveal their true form of the Borisin, and a fight ensues. We learn the Borisin have somehow gained the ability to shapeshift and forge official IDs, meaning they could be anywhere on the Luofu. It's invasion of the Body Snatchers, currently carrying out whatever smuggling operation they're carrying out. Back at the seat of Divine Foresight, the hour of Feixiao's questioning is upon us, and Feixiao prefaces it by stating some of the questions she may ask are not her own, so apologies in advance if they come across as a bit harsh. The debate is weird, but it goes smoothly, I guess. You can just straight up refuse to answer one of the questions, which is why it's like, what is even the point? With our questioning done, Feixiao says she senses nothing's off, but then turns to Jingyun.
However, the 3 questions I posed earlier were not just for the nameless, but for you too, General Jingyun. First, the disciples of Sanctus Medicus grew uninterrupted on the Luofu, yet the 6 charioteers were not aware of it. That was a dereliction of duty. Second, you believed in the Stellar Run Hunter's prophecy and entrusted outsiders to solve the crisis, even granting them access to the Plague Mark. That was a dereliction of responsibility. Third, you insist on holding the war dance right after the Ambrosial Arbor crisis, putting the Luofu back in the spotlight. That is a dereliction of wisdom.
Merlin's Claw. Is this your line of thinking, or the 10 Lords?
From the moment I walked in, I made it clear that the questions I'd ask might not reflect my actual thoughts.
Jingliu accepts blame for the disciples, states Elio was right in the end, and says the real reason the war dance is happening is to cleanse the Luofu of the filth once and for all. Feixiao makes it clear her own thoughts on the matter are that she understands the difficulties Jingliu faces. Currently, the Yaoqiu is facing its own bourgeois problem, and that they are currently grouping together and making some large gangs, all taking orders from a lady with 12 faces and 12 pairs of fangs. Someone who claims to be a messenger of Yao Shi and its Fantilia. In order to ease the Alliance's fears, Feixiao wants us to do something with a mirror in the shackling prison. I don't fucking know. The other thing she wants to do is transfer Hulei to the Yaoqiu so the foxians need no longer worry, to which Jingliu agrees. At the gates of the shackling prison, Dan Hun thinks about the good old times he had here in the past, and we catch sight of Jaoqiu and Moise, who are currently here to check on Hulei before his transfer. Moise mentions he can break out of this Mickey Mouse prison in a day. Hulei is apparently the greatest nemesis of the foxians. The beast was captured by Jingliu, and over the last 700 years, he's never been given food nor water, yet has remained alive, which is unusual for even the Boris. And furthermore, Hulei was given a special punishment in the form of the Forest of Swords, which is just a lot of swords just like stabbing you all at once until you die. Most Borisans die within 3 days, but even after 700 years of enduring this, Hulei remains as alive as when he first came. Every time he's stabbed, his body simply instantly heals. Fun fact, you can't mention Jingliu when talking to him. It doesn't give us a reason why, but it is a fun fact. Jaoqiu informs the two before they meet Hulei they must ingest a pill. The reason for this is the Borishan can produce a pheromone called lupitoxin that induces fear, and Yaoqiu insists it's for this reason the Borishan were able to enslave the Foxians. Even though, I mean, Nick, are y'all the only ones who are affected by lupitoxin? Just say y'all were gapped. It is what it is, man. Heading to the cells, Yaoqiu again smells some bullshit in the air, but again thinks nothing of it. This fucker just doesn't know what a gut feeling is. Good lord. The camera shifts back on over to the Trailblazer and Don Hung, where it's revealed Hanya is the judge that will do something. It doesn't matter, let's just be honest. As we head down somewhere, we come across some IPC crates from earlier that had that machine in it. They were all placed here because they're dangerous, but then Hanya notices something odd.
Strange. I don't remember checking the containment facilities a second time.
Watch out!
Emergency! All wardens prepare for action! Emergency! All wardens prepare for action!
Power was supposedly cut from the crate, so how the mechs could start moving on their own is a puzzling question, but it may have something to do with the biological components of them. We reason a prison break is currently ongoing, and whoever delivered all these goods wanted them to end up in the shackling prison to make the break happen. Given all eyes are on Hulei right now, we assume that's who's being broken free, and we must stop that, or it will spell catastrophe for the Luofu. Back on over to Jaoqiu and friends. Right as they're about to check on Hulei, they are interrupted by the guard from earlier who was, oh my god, this shady-looking individual was a disguised Borisan whose name is Mock Talk. Yaoqiu suddenly clocks why he kept suddenly randomly smelling bullshit in the air. A bit late now, but anyway, a fight ensues.
Guard the gate! They can't be allowed in!
First meal after a game.
long time. Boy, welcome back.
Hulei questions Moktok on why he looks like a foxian, to which Moktok responds he took a magic pill. Ain't those a bitch, man. Apparently, Fantilia is the one who inspired Moktok and the other Borisin to do this, egging them on by stating the return of Hulei will mean the return of the Borisins. Hulei agrees to the plan and requests a magic pill to don another form. They decide to take Jaoqiu prisoner to make a break for it. Back to the Trailblazer, we all decide to venture to the depths of the prison to see if Hulei's escaped yet. When we reach his cell, we see he's gone, and so are Jaoqiu and Mose. We also see Juei's broken body and find out her soul swapped on over to a Psy Crane. She informs us Jaoqiu was taken prisoner and Mose escaped, and the Borisins have the fucking power of invisibility somehow. Finally, Hanya tells Juei to clue the outside world in on what's happened. As we follow the trail of bodies, we run into Mose, who despite claiming he could break out of this prison, got lost like a little bitch when it mattered. Mose states there's not a chance in hell he could defeat Hulei, so Jaoqiu is a lost cause. No, I fucking respect it, man. Mose proposes we seal the prison from the inside and trap Hulei in so it can't escape. Hanya says she'll remain inside the prison, but she needs our help to close it, so we head up. Back on over to Hulei and the boys. They are right on the other side of the gate, and it's at this moment Jaoqiu tries to both spare his life and buy some time by informing Hulei Jingliu has returned to the Luofu. This piques Hulei's interest, who decides not to kill Jaoqiu yet. Back to the Trailblazer, I try to juke this NPC, but this fucking Ed Reed. The camera then shifts back on over to the seat of Divine Foresight with all three of the generals in the shots. A knight runs in and informs them of what's happened in the prison and the fact that Hulei has escaped. Feixiao takes this to mean from here on out, the Xianzhou Alliance will have another foe to take on that isn't the abundance, and it's the destruction. And that's the end. Good story, huh? Good story. We're off to a good start. Surely we don't fumble the bag this time around. That'd be impossible. But considering I love doing shit 2 times in a fucking row in these games, surely the devs do